All right, everybody, welcome back to another Turnaround MD video. The doctor is in. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about the nuclear energy space, particularly small modular nuclear reactors, which are sort of an interesting proposal for carbon-free power to power a lot of the data centers that are now being built, and potentially a replacement for fossil fuels, at least in the energy generation space. Uh, Without further ado, I'm just going to give a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel and a retail investor. So please take everything I say with a grain of salt. And if you lose money, don't blame me. All right, jumping into it. Basically, there are two leaders in the space right now, Nuscale and Oklo. Nuscale Power has been at this for a really long time, since 2011. Oklo is sort of new, but they're the new kid on the block, sort of challenging Nuscale. So I wanted to do a brief overview of the two, sort of compare them and give you an idea of which one I think it has a better chance of going towards commercialization and which one I prefer. So let's start with Oklo. The pros, one, they're backed by Sam Altman. Everything that guy touches seems to turn to gold. They also have a board member who is being nominated as the energy secretary for the Department of Energy. He probably will be confirmed. And that's a really big thing for them because the Department of Energy gives a lot of grants to nuclear energy companies. And also, there's a lot of political will behind nuclear right now from both the Democrats and the Republicans. And Oklo's design is also really innovative. They are going to be doing liquid metal, uh, fu- uh, uh, a liquid metal reactor, and that will basically be the coolant instead of water. They're going to use metal. There's a lot of safety benefits towards that that I recommend researching if you're going to invest in Oklo. But for now, you could just sort of know at a high level that this is a true Generation 4 evolution on the current reactor designs that we have. On the con side, Oklo hasn't even submitted their application to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. I don't care who you are. If you want to build a reactor in the United States, you're going to need approval from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. There has been talk about streamlining the process for doing this, but an application where, right now it probably takes about 10 years. Even if they cut that time in half, that's still 5 years, and it's going to be quite substantial. Not to mention, Okla hasn't even submitted the application, so that's going to be a major hurdle for them. Also, because it's an innovative design, using liquid metal as a coolant definitely will complicate licensing from an NRC standpoint. The last reactor in the United States to use liquid metal was a molten salt test reactor. And it was kind of a disaster because molten salt, if it comes in contact with water, burns. And that is generally seen as undesirable for a nuclear reactor. So new scale, the pros, biggest one is obvious is a license from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The government has approved it and said, hey, this design is safe and we could start building reactors. Uh, the NuScale reactor is also a conventional light water reactor. It's just miniaturized. And if you want to see the reactor in action today, you could look no further than the submarine fleet of the United States. They all employ uh, light water reactors to power them. The first plant is currently undergoing front-end engineering and design work in Romania. So, this just gives you an idea that this is real. They're, collecting seismic data and preparing to break ground on the first plant. And they also have 10 plus projects announced with three in North America, two in the United States, and one in Canada, with major utilities. On the con side, it's less innovative, so it's not really a true big step towards a amazing Generation 4 reactor. This is sort of Generation 3 plus. Um, Miniaturizing it is a big step forward, and there are a lot of new, interesting passive safety features, which give me confidence that the site is going to be safe and that the project will bring enhanced safety features. Um, they have had a project cancellation due to cost growth. This is the carbon-free power project in Idaho. Basically, the NuScale estimated price of the project was one thing, and it more than doubled, and the utilities balked at the nosebleed prices, so they walked away. This is going to be a problem for every nuclear energy company, but particularly right now, since NuScale is very rapidly approaching the commercialization phase, this is a major concern. And also the site permits have not yet been issued yet, so they are going to have to take the seismic data and other data that they are doing in the feed and site prep work right now and submit that to various regulatory bodies in order to receive a permit to build the nuclear reactor. So the other thing I want to just point out here is when you look at the market cap of NuScale versus Oklo, Oklo's market cap is 3 billion, NuScale's is 7.7 billion. So in other words, NuScale's market cap is only 2.5 times more than Oklo. In my view, if you're strictly going to be looking at these two companies, the premium makes a lot of sense because NuScale, let's face it, is just way further ahead than pretty much every other SMR company out there. So, you may be asking yourself, which one do I think is a better investment? Uh, it's a trick question because I don't think either of these are worth investing in right now because you really don't have safety of principle. If these companies fail, you're going to lose your money. It's not gonna be pretty. That's not to say that they will fail. They very likely will succeed. I think NuScale in particular will build its first plant. I just think that the stock itself is sort of unsuitable for investing as is. But that doesn't mean that there's no way to get exposure to this trend. The company that I think is best positioned from an investment standpoint is Fluor. Fluor is actually the one who supported NuScale towards its commercialization strategy. Fluor has a $9 billion market cap, and they own approximately 50% of NuScale. So just being conservative, the equity that they have in NuScale is worth right now roughly $3.5 billion. What's also critical to understand is Fluor has exclusive engineering, procurement, and construction rights on NuScale's SMR reactors. So they're the ones that are going to actually be building the thing. It's not going to be NuScale. Um, what's interesting is NuScale's equity is not currently reported on Fluor's balance sheet. In fact, as NuScale has been operating, all the losses have been reported as Fluor's losses, reducing Fluor's net income. But the increase in NuScale's stock price, which is the major benefit to Fluor right now, has not been reported at all. This has led to a really awkward situation where Fluor's book value is $2.5 billion, but their unreported equity in NuScale is worth $3.5 billion. So this sort of points to the interesting dichotomy that you have here. Fluor's management has also hinted at an SMR partnership with data center companies. So they haven't outright said that they have a data center customer that's going to be buying an SMR, although they have acknowledged that there is data center interest in SMRs. But that said, they have mentioned that they are in the position to be a sole source provider for data center EPC for a tech company that we would know. I've thought a lot about this. Why would a major tech company that we know the name of go to Fluor and say, hey, we're considering you to be the sole source contractor to build all of our AI data centers? That doesn't really make sense because typically you're going to want to bid these companies against each other, Fluor against McDermott, or I guess McDermott's a bad example, but other construction contractors. There's a dime a dozen out there. Um, you just wouldn't do that unless Fluor has unique value add here. And the obvious answer to that is, well, since they have the NuScale SMR and they're the sole uh, construction contractor for that SMR, they're already going to have assets in place to build the SMR. And it naturally follows that if you're going to build an SMR, well, whatever it's going to be powering should also be built in conjunction with it. So you could use some of the same equipment and sort of get the two knocked out at the same time. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense to build an SMR and have no data center to utilize the power. So that's sort of an interesting thing how these SMRs are going to lead to follow-on work and additional revenue for Fluor to collect on. So yeah, without further ado, I hope you guys find this interesting. It's been a long time coming. I realize I've been a little bit negative on Oklo, and obviously I am biased as a Fluor investor. But that said, please give me your feedback and put your comments below and like and subscribe so that I could grow from this and learn more. Thank you very much.